My friends, today we are going to talk about oratory, the art of speaking. There is a difference between oratory and eloquence, that is, rhetoric and eloquence. Rhetoric is the art of speaking and elocution is the art of convincing. A person can speak well and not convince. A person can convince with good arguments, with evidence, for example, without a great capacity for rhetoric. But oratory is an art of getting a message across. That message may or may not be true, but it's the art of getting a message across. Who invented rhetoric were the Greeks, mainly Aristotle. Aristotle never gave a lecture, but he was a teacher of rhetoric, oratory, of the great leaders of ancient Greece, such as Alexander. So, when we study rhetoric, oratory, we learn that it has some principles, fundamental principles, ranging from the speaker's posture to the fundamental points so that he is able to pass his message in a way that convinces and in a way that generates public understanding. So, here we are going to check some basic principles of public speaking. In ancient Greece, the great teacher was Aristotle, but oddly enough, the greatest orator of ancient Greece was Demosthenes, that Greek philosopher who was Gagnus. Just imagine, the greatest orator of ancient Greece was a man who suffered from stuttering. Already in ancient Rome, after the Romans conquered Greece, the greatest orator in Rome was Cicero, who was teacher of Julius Caesar and at the same time teacher of Mark Antony, teacher of the great orators, of the great senators who were good orators in Rome old. So, we found that today there is a fundamental need for the individual to get his message across. This goes in the field of sales, in the art of passing the message, in the field of administration, politics, religion. That is, it is of fundamental importance that we develop techniques, understand the techniques of how to speak in public. So let's look at some basic principles. The first point to note revolves around the great obstacle of the speaker. The orator's great obstacle is called fear. And fear is a problem, because what is fear? Fear is an emotional reaction of those who are not sure whether or not their message will be valued, will or will not be understood, and mainly, it will be accepted or not. So fear is a problem. When fear appears, we have to face fear. Now there are two types of fears. The fear that keeps us from doing good things and the fear that keeps us from doing nice things or wrong things. We are talking about the fear that prevents us from doing good things, such as passing on a message. So, there are mechanisms to overcome fear. The first is to prepare the lecture, prepare the theme, study the theme. This gives the speaker security. This gives the speaker peace of mind. Evidently, in an hour and 2 hours the speaker will not be able to pass on all his knowledge, which he would spend a whole day talking about. Then fear begins to be overcome through study. Through study, fear is overcome. The second aspect of controlling nervousness is to work on breathing techniques. There is, for example, a 3,000-year-old Chinese breathing technique that takes care of this breathing. For example, this technique is inhaling through one nostril, closing one nostril, inhaling through the other and then exhaling. That is, exhaling through the other nostril, exhaling and then inhaling through the other nostril, and so on. Let's repeat. Inhale, exhale, for the same inhale, exhale, for that same inhale, for the other exhale. This is not just for public speaking. This serves to oxygenate the brain, so that both the speaker and the person who is going to take part in a contest, or who is going to be faced with an embarrassing situation, or seizes any kind of need that aim at emotional stability, which allows or prevents emotional balance, it is good to work with breathing. Another important aspect